Please join me on our next left. And the rock is straight line. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Thacker, invocation.
Join me, please. Heavenly Father, we are thankful for this beautiful day that you have given us. We are thankful for the WRC staff that always greets us with a smile every moment. We pray for those who were affected by the widespread storms this weekend. Help us to always be on the lookout for those who need a helping hand. Help us to live by our motto of service above self. Please bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies and us to your service. In thy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Terry Tubby. Happy morning, girl, Mr. Terry.
Thank you very much, Rick. So come on down. It sounds like Bonnie Home. Anybody remember Bonnie Home? You don't remember Bonnie Home? Okay. Happy St. Patty's Day. I know some of the people are observing. You got your green on, and that's good. Show of hand. Who all has green on today? You got anything green? Green underwear does not count. Doesn't show. Okay, well that means that everybody that is not wearing green are subject to be pinched. Not doing any of that, and I don't have to call security. You know, if you get pinched, it's up to you. So, Brian, we didn't have corned beef and cabbage. I think they're probably holding off, thinking you're going to cook that at your house. Show of hands. Who likes corned beef and cabbage? About half the group, you know? About half the group. Do what now? You got it on now, Arthur, over at your house? Okay, all right, well, good enough. So happy St. Patty's Day. Before we get into this, let's remember Ralph Crutchfield. Mr. Crutchfield, former Rotarian, served as Sergeant of Arms of this club, as many of you all know, passed away last night. Archie Solomon was lamenting it. Ralph, such a good guy, but at the same time was Mr. Sears Roebuck. And probably many of y'all remember that. And of course, we also got into C.V. Rex, who at the same time was Mr. J.C. Penny. Two fine Rotarians, two fine men that passed away. So let's on a happy note wish the birthdays. Lit Flowers, March 25th, celebrating his birthday. And I guess nobody liked this for an anniversary. We have no anniversaries. Hope you all have a fantastic week. Thank you.
Mr. Scott Childers, introduction of guests and visiting our chairs. All right, we're happy to welcome our guests and visiting Rotarians today. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing until all names are called. We got Destin Merritt, guest of Colton Cureton. Noah Eubanks, guest of the club, and Tara Grant, guest of Miss Grant. Okay, thank you all for visiting the Dothan Rotary Club. Miss Catherine, come on down. Can't ask it.
It's been been such a minute since I've done this. I said, wait, when do I get hit? Then he said it.
$526 points. Last four, 0849, 0849. Miss Sheila.
He was right behind me.
Hey,
Literally was
got
right.
it. Yeah, I got it ready. I'm sure you did.
Final close, Ace lives on. Well, I hope everybody has a happy Mardi Gras day today.
Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras. Oh, yeah. I still live in Mardi Gras. I was on vacation last week, so I haven't. I like Mardi Gras. Everybody go.
Are you gonna be celebrating St. Patrick's Day on 4th of July, Rick?
If it's that much fun, we can carry it on. I think I will. Everybody, yeah, everybody loves to have fun with me. But we're all having fun. If I can, Mr. Jim Whaley, can you stand for me, sir? And I think I sent everybody out an email, but Mr. Jim, he was, if you don't know, on March the 20th, which is this Thursday, I believe at 6 p.m., they're doing honoring Mr. Jim Whaley at this year's recipient of the Fisher Smith Legacy Award for his outstanding civic and charitable responsibilities in the Wiregrass. So remember him if you don't get to make it. Thank you, Mr. Jim. We appreciate you. Okay, is March Madness coming up? I get that right then. We all have teams. Troy's in March. Troy's in Alabama. UAB? No. Auburn. I noticed, I don't know who played the joke on me. I think David Hanks called it too. I noticed it's my anniversary in April for 18 years. And, you know, it's got your name, your wife's name, or spouse's name, and then it has, you know, what you like, you know, hunting, fishing, and then, of course, then there's got Alabama football. And I had to relook. I'm thinking, surely I didn't, but who knows if I'm still doing Mardi Gras. So, happy St. Patrick's Day. And Mr. John, you're up.
Thank you, President Rick. So Colton is a Rotarian here on the Monday Club, so thank you for being here with us today, Colton. I just wanted to say a few words about him before he comes up and speaks with us this afternoon. So Colton is the Vice President of the Economic Development of the Dothan Area Chamber of Commerce and works closely with Matt Parker there, the President of the Chamber. He works to recruit new industries and existing industries to expand in the Wiregrass area. Colton's a native of Dothan. He's a graduate of Troy University, where he received both his bachelor's and master's degree in public administration. He also received a doctorate in educational leadership and serves as an online adjunct instructor for Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia. After graduating from Troy, Colton began a career focused on economic workforce development. He started in Mobile, Alabama, at the Mobile Area Chamber of Commerce as a project leader. And in 2018, Colton and his wife, Catherine, moved back home to Dothan, where he began serving students with the Houston County School District at the Houston County Career Academy. In 2021, Colton joined the Dothan Area Chamber as the Director of Retail and Redevelopment, with Vice President of the Economic Development in 2022. Colton is a member of the Economic Development Association of Alabama, Dothan Rotary Club, and serves on the Houston County Board for the Wiregrass United Way. He and his wife have one daughter, and her name is Charlotte. Please help me welcome Colton.
Charles gave me the best advice of the day. Came up to me and shook my hand. He said, "Don't screw it up." So I'm going to do my best not to screw it up, Charles. Thanks, John, for the introduction, and thank you for the opportunity to be here with you this morning. I really just want to give you guys an economic development update for our community and really recap 2024, what we've seen and kind of where we are now and what the future looks like for us. So just to give you an update from a human capital's perspective here, the city of Dothan sits at around 72,000 in terms of population. Our daytime population in the city almost doubles. It reaches more than 150,000 people, and then within a 50-mile radius, it touches 400,000 people. So from an industry recruitment perspective, those are really important numbers, right? It shows that our community during the day is really robust. You look at that 50-mile radius population number, you look at that daytime population number, people are coming here for work, people are coming here for healthcare needs, people are coming here for retail needs, the whole gamut, right? So we're really fortunate to have to be where we are from a regional perspective and geography in the southeast corner of the state, being able to provide those essential services to not only the people who live here in Dothan, but to our rural communities that rely on Dothan for their everyday needs as well. So in 2024, we saw right around 56 million of investment from industrial capital, over 400 new jobs, median household income close to 55,000. One of my favorite stats is the third bullet point there. It says Dothan is ranked 7th out of the top 10 cities for U.S. inbound movers. So United Van Lines, they do a study annually. For the last 2 years, we've been ranked in the top 10 for people moving into Dothan versus moving out of Dothan. So those are great stats when you think about the health of our economy and the future growth that we have and what we expect. Unemployment rate, 3.5. I love this slide because it really shows the holistic approach that we take to workforce development and preparing our workforce for the future. Within a 60-minute drive time of Dothan in our community, we have more than 24,000 high school students. So within that number, you have more than 10,000 career technical education students. So these are students that are participating in courses at your Dothan Tech, at your Houston County Career Academy, maybe your GTech in Geneva, right? And then so many more within that 60-minute drive time. We have more than 750 co-op students. Those are students that are going to work every day because they're leaving school early because they've met their educational requirements. Now they're able to go out and get a job and work while they're still in high school. And then you have over 1,800 dual enrolled students. So these are students that are taking classes maybe through Enterprise State, maybe through Wallace, in our surrounding areas, while also still in high school. And then you have over 2,000 short-term training students, so students that may be in short-term certificate programs within our local schools, but not pursuing a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree, right? So, and then within a 60-minute drive time, you have over 22,000 2-year graduates. Thank you, Dr. Young, right? Those are very impressive numbers. And then over 40,000 4-year graduates as well. So strong numbers there. From an economic development perspective, when you think about industrial recruitment, we've had some exciting projects over the last year that have come to fruition, that have been placed in service and are operating. I'll hit on a few of those. Smartland is an entity off of Hodgesville Road, in the former GE building, which many of you may know it as. They just added another 100,000 square feet to that facility. Invested around $62 million, created more than 43 jobs there. Right behind Smartland Peak Renewables opened a facility. They manufacture a wood pellet that they use residuals from the sawmill industries in this area to create that pellet. And then that pellet is shipped via Genesee, Wyoming rail to Savannah. And then from Savannah, it goes to Europe and it's burned for energy. But they invested around $30 million there in that facility and created almost 30 jobs. And then, of course, FedEx distribution facility in the Sam Houston Industrial Park, which employs north of 200 people. That was a new facility, 372,000 square feet, massive facility. If you were to build that today, it would be a lot more than $57 million. But it's a beautiful building, tilt-up construction, and it's a great addition to the Sam Houston Industrial Park. Southern Roots Nut Company. It's a new company that's recently opened up in the Sam Houston Industrial Park as well. That's a company. They focus on ponds essentially. So distributing, processing, cold storing pecans. This was a group that was from the Georgia area. They had an operation in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and they were looking to expand to the southeastern portion of the U.S. So they reached out via consultants, and we went through the process of recruiting them to Dothan and helping them make that decision easier. So they took an old building in Sam Houston Industrial Park called the Gulf States Cold Storage Building. And that building was once used to store poultry and stuff like that for Wayne Farms. Anyway, they acquired that. It's a large building. It's about 120,000 square feet, where they will store their pecans, and they are getting ready to build their new facility on the lot right next door to that cold storage building. It's going to be about 60,000 square feet, where they'll actually process the pecans and then put them in their cold storage facility and ship them out. They're creating more than 120 jobs, and then it represents nearly $20 million in capital investment. Amazon was probably the best, worst kept secret in Dothan, right? It's really interesting how some of these projects come to life. A lot of times we get these projects under NDA circumstances, so we are not able to really talk publicly about them. Even though sometimes, as you start working with different contractors and things like that, right? I mean, you just can't keep this stuff a secret. Real estate publications and whatnot, right? So anyway, Amazon reached out and they were looking for a site. And, actually came to us. This is probably, Matt would tell you that we're due one every once in a while, an easy project, right? Well, most of the time that never happens. Well, this group came to us and said, we want to be right here. And they already had the property under contract, which made it even much easier, right? All those different things. We had to work with them on a few issues as it related to zoning and whatnot. We made it through that process. Anyway, they invested $30 million, created 200 new jobs in that facility. It's a beautiful facility, also tilt-up construction. Anyway, through that process, speaking of NDAs, they would not let us publicly discuss the project for various reasons that they've experienced in other communities. Even though you can clearly drive down Kelly Drive and see the Amazon sign hanging from the building, right? But you do what you do, and you have to honor those NDAs. But we're excited to have them in the community. They also donated $10,000 to the Wiregrass United Way on their opening. Thank you, Charles and Walt. So that was great to show their community support for them. Inline Electric opening a new facility in Dothan as well. 30 new jobs, close to $5 million in capital investment. We are really excited about the growth of Hudson Alpha Wiregrass and what that means for our community. You know, over the years, when you think about economic development in Dothan, Matt would tell you this, and I've heard him speak to this many, many times. We've been really, really good working across the board in your traditional industrial economic development, right? And those are great opportunities. Those are great jobs for our community. But we've never had an opportunity to really expand beyond that in terms of innovation, R&D, things like that. Well, that really came to light across 2023 through a partnership spearheaded by Mayor Saliba and the City of Dothan Commission. And then what really made this thing come to fruition was our great legislators, Paul Lee and Donnie Chasteen and Steve Klaus and our great Wiregrass delegation, being able to deliver $30 million in state funding to help create this new facility. So when we think about, the role that our political leaders play in this world of economic development, it's crucial to have quality leaders like our delegation that we have here in the community that's able to bring home the bacon for our area. We're fortunate for them for that. So that building is clearly under construction. If you have the opportunity to go through downtown Dothan and see that, they're actually using some of the smart land materials to create some of that facility as well. So the cross-laminated timber and the glue lam panel boards, you can clearly see that as you drive through downtown Dothan. It's going to be a first-class facility, 45,000 square feet, 15,000 on 3 different floors. When you think about the future of economic development, it's hard to really be successful if you don't have sites and inventory to be able to market, to be able to help companies make the decision easier for them to locate in the community. So with that being said, we were able to partner with city and county officials as well as the state in purchasing the Maplefield Industrial Park and then infrastructuring this park. So this is on Maplefield Road. This 86-acre tract is situated right behind Coca-Cola and Gresco. Across the street, you would have like Low Motors, right, in that area, Buffalo Rock in that general area. So this park, it's a great piece of property. After it's all said and done, you'll probably have around 70 or 70 acres for development after the pond's been placed in and the road network and things like that. Anyway, this property would not be possible if it weren't for the city contributing $900,000 towards the infrastructure improvements to this park. The county also contributing $900,000 ARPA funds, those federal infrastructure dollars, and they were awarded contributing towards that. And then we were able to receive $1 million from Growing Alabama as well to help infrastructure this park. So there's a few different buckets of money out there that allow us to make infrastructure improvements to publicly owned property. And when I say publicly owned property, I mean it's typically our industrial development board in the city of Dothan that is involved in a lot of these infrastructure improvements and real estate holdings and things like that. And what makes it possible for us to financially do these projects are these grant opportunities. And I mentioned earlier in regards to our great state legislators and our Wiregrass delegation, but they're the ones that have actually created these buckets of money for local economic development entities to apply for these dollars and bring home the dollars to make improvements to properties like this. So $1 million from Growing Alabama went towards this, and we were fortunate for that. As we think about these buckets of money, another state program that was put in place back in 2024 was called the SEEDS Act. So the SEEDS Act is really what encourages economic development entities to be able to improve their base of quality sites across the state of Alabama. The state as a whole has really seen a deficit in terms of quality economic development sites. And when I say quality sites, I'm talking about larger tracts of land that are well infrastructured, as in they've got a great power supply source, they have great water and sewer source, and they have great gas source, right? So the state as a whole was really struggling to be able to come up with larger tracts of land that checked all those boxes. So they implemented what we call the Seeds Act, right? So that is essentially the funding mechanism that allows local economic development entities to participate in grant matching and local matching to be able to acquire industrial sites as well as infrastructure quality industrial sites. So with that being said, we went through an extensive process trying to find larger tracts of land that check all those infrastructure boxes that would allow us to be successful. Through that process, we were able to identify what we call the Westgate Super Site. It's in totality 446 acres. The contiguous piece in the middle, which is the best, is 365 acres. But you've got a great CSX line that's adjacent to the property. You've got great water and sewer from Dothan Utilities. Alabama Power has a very impressive 230 kV line that goes through the property. It is an economic developer's dream, right? When you think about economic development in a community and being able to be successful and landing a big fish. You know, again, when we think about economic development in the community for the last couple of decades, Matt says this over and over again. We've been really good in these $20 million projects, $30 million projects, $50 million projects, right? But anything much greater than that, we've never had an opportunity to really submit or chase a project because we didn't have anywhere for them to go, right? We didn't have anything for them to locate to. So with that being said, through the Seeds Act and then being awarded nearly $4 million from the state, paired with nearly $3 million from our city and county, we were able to acquire the Westgate Super Site. And now we've had an opportunity to get in front of a lot of great companies that are looking for future expansions in the Southeast. So with that being said, we closed on the property in May of 2024. We had it under contract in December of 23. And from that time, we started submitting it on different projects in December of 23, just because we felt good of where we were. We felt like we were going to be able to get our state dollars and stuff like that. So with that being said, we submitted on 5 different projects from that period of time. And you can see these are significant projects, right? I mean, these are the least amount of capital investment that we've seen from potential projects that are interested in a site like this has been $750 million. The most being $4 billion. So when we think about potential companies that can locate there, we hope to see one site future, right? Because that's the need across the state and across the country to have a one-site user take up that entire site, that entire property. And we're excited about it. We're excited about the project activity that we've seen. Out of these sites, we have one that is still active. We've seen a lot of great headway as we were working them throughout the lifetime of the project. Another project, Project Flame, ended up going to a community in Indiana. But they visited the site multiple times. You know, companies make decisions for different reasons, right? For them, they wanted the opportunity to have a little bit more acreage for a potential third phase if they were ever to expand the third time. We didn't have any reason to believe that would be necessary because they hadn't done that yet. But however, that's okay. They called Indiana home. And we've still got a great site here in the Dothan community for a future company one day. When we think about these larger sites, you know, communities have to really be open and willing and understanding of sometimes it takes time to make the right fit. We don't want to jump on the first company that's looking to come here, right? Because it may not be a good fit for our community. When you think about larger sites like this and this magnitude, you think about Novellis, who is building a facility in Baldwin County. Baldwin County had that site under ownership for a decade before they made the right fit with Novelis. So not to say it's going to take a decade for us, but it may take a year, it may take 2 years, it may take 5, or it may take 10, right? Just, you never know. Regardless, we have the opportunity to really create something special here in Dothan and Houston County and the Wiregrass area, because something of this magnitude would really be transformational for this community. So just moving on, and I'll close with this slide. And from a downtown perspective, we administer a few different boards out of the chamber. We administer the Industrial Development Board of the City of Dothan. We administer the Industrial Development Authority of Houston, Henry, Geneva, and Dale counties. And then we also administer the Downtown Redevelopment Authority. We absorbed the responsibilities of the Downtown Redevelopment Authority last year. And then from that time, we've seen a lot of great activity from the downtown perspective. I know the city obviously is contributing millions and millions of dollars in terms of downtown investment for their new buildings, structures. And we've seen a lot of great private investment as well. Over 21 different private investment projects in the downtown core area. And we'll continue to help the best we can to make downtown successful. So with that being said, I'll just pause and ask if anybody has any questions. And if you do, I'll be sure to write them down and type up an email and send them to Matt. Again, you know, economic development doesn't happen in a vacuum, right? It really takes a team. You have to have quality leaders at the city and county level, and you have to have quality leaders at the state level. And fortunately, here in our community, we check all those boxes. We couldn't do any of this if it weren't for those individuals playing a key role in this. So anyway, I'll ask if anybody has any questions. Yes, sir.
Are you seeing more domestic investors or foreign investors? Not just here, but throughout the United States.
I don't follow it throughout the United States as best I should, honestly. But I would say in terms of our community and the state, we've seen more domestic. We're working a few international projects here in Dothan. One is a Canadian project, which tragically has really slowed up over the last 2 months, as you can imagine, with all the tariff talk and things like that. However, we have a few. We have one from India, and then another European project as well. So we've seen a little. We still have some international activity, but a lot of the stuff that we see in our community is domestic. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think around maybe 10, 15 years ago, along the Florida-Alabama line, there was about 1,000, 2,000 acres purchased in the hopes of doing a car manufacturing plant. Has anything ever developed on that one?
So that's a great question, and that site is still available, actually. That site, as you know, sits in Jackson County, right across the state line. It's a beautiful site. It also has really good infrastructure. 1,000 acres, which is really, really impressive, right? It's been tough because there's been some transitions in that area in terms of economic development, leadership, and stuff like that. However, we have seen that revive over the last 2 years, where some changes have been made and things like that, and things are starting to pick up. And that site actually had a site visit last year in 2024 from an auto manufacturer. So it's a great question. I think you'll continue to see some activity as it relates to that site. You know, the state of Florida, it's a little tough to do economic development in Florida for various reasons. One, they have actually disbanded their Department of Commerce, right? They don't necessarily have state incentives any longer and stuff like that. So obviously tourism is significant in the state of Florida, so that creates a different environment. But we're fortunate to have the state play a crucial role in economic development to support industrial growth here. Anything else? Mr. John, you said you were going to ask me a hard one. Yes, sir, Charles.
Are y'all having problems with, labor at all? Like when you're competitive, trying to be competitive?
Yeah.
Can you justify to them you have a certain number of workers that can fulfill the role?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, if a community were to tell you they did not have labor issues, they would be lying, right? So we have to tackle that up front and just be honest with them. What really helps us sell our community the best is when we start talking in terms of regionalism, because that's what we are. We're a regional community, right? When you look at our daytime population numbers and our 50-mile radius population numbers, that's what makes the biggest difference in terms of helping get that point across, is that it's not just our community that your people are going to be working at and in. We have people driving in. The average commute time in this area is 24 minutes, right? You can go a long way in 24 minutes here. You may not go a long way in 24 minutes in Atlanta, right, or a bigger metro area. In 24 minutes, you can get a good ways here in our community. So preaching that message, and then also preaching the message of that student population workforce pipeline that we shared earlier in this presentation, that helps get the message across that we're doing everything we can to better prepare our people for the workforce.
Can you give us an update on that?
The animal clinic. Mr. John, I haven't been too involved in the animal clinic, so I don't want to speak out of turn. But I know it looks like it's moving along pretty nicely out there, and it's going to be a very beautiful facility. Certainly something that's been needed for our community for a long time. It's going to be off of 52 right there. Some of that people were asking about it, right? It's going to be off of 52 in that general area, Yellow Road from Lowe's. Yes, speaking to us in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Okay. Mr. John says that they're going to be speaking to us in 2 weeks. I don't have the answer to that.
Is there any more property available around the airport?
Yeah.
Aviation?
There is. Today you got the B team. Matt is in LA. He's at an aerospace conference. So he's there with a few other communities from the state of Alabama. For that exact reason, right? We've got some great runway adjacent property and other properties around the airport area that is available for development. We've seen some great activity over the years with commercial jet out there, continue to be very successful. CAE has continued to be very successful out there as well. So that's a great attribute for our community, the available property at the airport.
What role is the chamber playing in infrastructure build out right now?
So a lot of times what we try to do, we focus primarily on industrial development, right, and things of that nature. So we speak from an industrial lens. So as we're looking at various projects and whatnot, we analyze the infrastructure improvements in that general area, what can or cannot happen. I tell you, our team at Dothan Utilities, when it comes to water and sewer and things like that, they're really top notch and they know their stuff. So they're a great resource for us. We've got really great partnerships with Wiregrass Electric and with Alabama Power as well. The VP of Economic Development for Alabama Power is coming down to Dothan the first week of April, just to see some different things in our community, right? So from an infrastructure capabilities in our area, we're really positioned well, especially from a power perspective, of being able to serve larger loads, which is really important. The data center surge across the state and across the country has really done a number on available power across the country. But we remain really strong in terms of available power. A lot of that is due to Farley, right, in our backyard, and all the power that's generated from there serving across the state and others. But we've got some great infrastructure partners that we try to work with, and they communicate with us, right, in terms of their future plans in regards to upgrades and timelines of that nature. And we explain to them the activity that we've seen as well, just so we are all singing from the same sheet of music.
You said you mentioned the data centers. Are there any data centers that are looking at coming here, or are we talking any of those?
They have continually reached out to us, just because they are aware of our power capabilities and capacities in our area. You know, it's hard for us to really encourage data center development just because they're not very large job creators. They take a lot of power out of your market, and a lot of times that's hard to get back. So once you do that, then you have to worry about future industrial growth after that, right? And then they also take a lot of your available property as well. So we try to have those conversations in very respectful ways. You know, we could do something small, you know, a couple megawatts, but a lot of these guys want 200, 250, 300 megawatts. And just to put that into perspective, the city of Dothan on Dothan Utilities uses around 120 megawatts. So that's a lot of power.
How about the mill pasteurization? Anything happening on it?
Milk pasteurization. We've seen some great economic activity as it relates to some milk projects looking in the area. You know, with Borden Dairy closing that facility a couple of years ago, certainly it hurt. Anytime anybody hurts, it's tough, right? But we've seen some great activity of individuals looking to maybe research that and bring that back to life. So we hope to see some future there when it comes to milk processing and stuff as well.
How are we on the wastewater treatment facilities?
Pretty good. With Little Choctawhatchee, the newest wastewater treatment plant in Dothan is a great facility. Is able to serve a large capacity there. There's some other infrastructure improvements planned for other wastewater treatment plants in the area as well. You know, I feel like you can never have enough, right? You can never have enough of that capacity. But our Dothan Utilities team has done a really good job in terms of planning for the future. And they really work well with the city commission in terms of making sure funding is appropriately allocated for future improvements as needed. Yes, sir.
One of the things we found out in the state is a 57% participation rate that we're working on, and little investigations. Outdot has about little over $200 million transit, federal dollars come straight to them. It's not being utilized the way it should. Two reasons why that participation rate is so low is because of child care and transportation. And so what we're working on is trying to get that moved into the new workforce development program that's just opened up. Greg Reed is taking over. So we're hoping that will be moved and utilized, because I'm not sending traffic moving business. They're not even moving people.
Yeah.
As far as getting them back to forth to work. And that's a big opportunity if we do that.
It really is, and that's a great. I mean, it reminds me of the system that Wayne Sanderson Farms has in place, where they bus and pick up a lot of their employees in the Wiregrass area. And you're right here. Yeah, you do that here, right? WRC, right? Yeah, absolutely. So that's a critical need for our community. We certainly need more of it. So any funds of that nature would certainly be helpful to solve some positions. Well, thank you guys.
Next week, we are off. I know it's not Mardi Gras Day, but it's a spring break week. Oh, it's basketball. I hope we're still in it, all of us. You never know. At least the way my team's been playing the last few weeks. But we're off. It's a spring break for, I think, city and county. So we take that next Monday off, but we'll be back, of course, the next Monday. I'll send out emails just to remind everybody, because I know I've showed up years before and I paid attention and I'll be the only person in the parking lot because I forgot we were off for some reason. And who do we have next week? And then the next week? I forgot the name was called, Wiregrass Pet and Rescue. I'm looking forward to hearing about that, because it's, I hate to say it, but we need it, and I don't know, we used to do some fundraisers out there, and, it was always a lot of fun, but there's a lot of help that needs to go on in that category, so if we can, let's, board meeting. If you're on the board meeting, right? If we can, so let's stand. Of the things we think, say, and do, is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will build goodwill, better friendships, will be beneficial to all. Thank you.